Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Wayne Jacobsen, and I am one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. That's nactv@wcgwave.ca. And of course, I'm reading the banner for the week ending Friday, September the 3rd, 2021. And we'll get off to the races with the headline article on the front page is Off to the Races in Carbury. The Carbury Agricultural Society was back in action last weekend, hosting family fun days at the fairgrounds from Friday to Sunday. While the event wasn't as large as their usual agricultural fair and races, Ag Society President Alan Christensen noted that they were very happy with how the days went. The weather wasn't completely cooperative over the weekend, with heavy rains on Friday causing their first evening of chariot and chuck wagon races to be postponed. Originally, they had planned to run the races Friday evening and finish them off Saturday, but the wet track changed their schedule to Saturday and Sunday instead. The rain did let up on Friday, however, allowing the Carbury Fire Department to run the fireworks show they had planned for that night. Christensen said they hadn't planned for that night. Christensen said they didn't take attendance for the fireworks, but there was a good-sized group out to watch the show. Saturday involved not only the horse races, but some fun for the little ones too. The society arranged for some inflatable play structures to be there most of the day, as well as mini train rides. There was also a small craft sale and musical entertainment. Continuing on, Christensen estimated that about 700 people came out for the day on Saturday. He added that Sunday didn't have quite as many people out, maybe between 300 and 400. He noted that the Ag Society knew that Sunday's events were short notice, so they weren't surprised attendance was a little lower than Saturday's. We were very happy with the turnout, he stated. Christensen expressed that the Ag Society was pleased to not only provide some entertainment to families, but also a place for racers to compete this year. This was the only chuck wagon races in all of Manitoba in 2 years, he said, adding that it was great to be able to see the racers back out and interacting with one another again. The weekend had great support from the community as well as area businesses that sponsored the event. Christensen noted they had almost 30 sponsors for the family fun days. Because all organizations and businesses have had a difficult time during the pandemic, Christensen noted that the society didn't want to ask the sponsors for large amounts, so they tried to get a lot of groups on board to do smaller amounts to help cover the cost of the event. The Ag Society is grateful for everyone who helped make the event successful, from sponsors to volunteers and everyone who attended. Christensen added that a lot of credit was also due to the Ag Society Vice President, Deanna Leckman, who was instrumental in organizing the weekend. While there was an admission cost on Saturday and silver collection on Sunday, Christensen noted that the Ag Society didn't do the event to make money. They just wanted to be able to break even. We wanted to do something so people knew the Ag Society was still here and to have something for the community, he said. We were really happy with the support, and we heard lots of great things from everyone there. Well, back on the front page in the political scene, Jacobsen named interim premier. Manitoba has a new premier as Kelvin Jacobsen has been named interim leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. The decision to go with Jacobsen was made on Thursday, August the 31st, at the PC Party caucus meeting. The Steinbach-based MLA has replaced Brian Pallister, who stepped down as premier on Wednesday, September the 1st. Jacobsen will be Manitoba's 23rd premier for a 2-month term, at which point one of the candidates running to replace Pallister will be selected. Well, the Nipawin Legion, open after a year of closure. The Nipawin Legion will soon be open for the first time since last year, after closing officially due to COVID-19 on November the 12th, 2020. Legion Branch number 23 will once again have its doors open to the public starting September the 7th. Legion President Brent Hunter and Secretary Treasurer Cheryl Ernest told the Banner and Press that it feels good to be open again. The closures impacted us financially since we haven't been able to do much aside from a couple of meetings regarding our reopening, said Ernest. But it did give us the opportunity to do some maintenance and touch-ups, like the foyer upstairs. We didn't have the time to do those previously. Hunter added, we've been able to make use of some government funding in order to pay for utilities, insurance, and other costs. So we're really grateful to the government levels that have provided funding to help us address those costs. Once September 7th swings around, the Legion will be able to open on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. and on Friday from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. The establishment will be open at full capacity with all current public health orders in place. This includes proper social distancing and masks worn when guests are standing or moving around. VLTs were being spaced out or separated with a barrier, proof of being fully vaccinated, and a confirmation of identity. The hall will also be available for rent, with the renter responsible for any violation fees, as it will be the renter's responsibility to make sure adherence to guidelines is kept. While Chase the Ace will remain on hold for now, we will be having the meat draw and 50-50 draws starting September the 10th, said Hunter. Now that it's open once again, memberships that are due for 2021 can now be paid at the Legion. Memberships for 2022 will also be coming out due shortly. To rent the hall or to volunteer to help sell tickets, people are asked to call 204-476-5738. Volunteers can also alternatively use the sign-up sheet posted downstairs in the Legion. One unexpected highlight for Legion Branch number 23 during its closure was the receival of an anonymous donation. The donation came in the form of a wood-carved statue forming a cross, adorned by a poppy and helmet. The base is solid with unique shaping and inscribed with the words, "Lest we forget," on the front. The gift was given to a Legion member via a drop-off with a typed letter. We have no idea who did it, Ernest expressed, but on behalf of the executive of branch number 23, thank you. The Legion executive is currently deciding where best to display the generous and thoughtful gift. Moving along to the travel and entertainment section of the Banner Press. Open mic night at Arts Forward, and there's a picture of Blair and Kim Chapman perform for open mic night at Arts Forward on August the 20th. Although a few activities and rentals are starting now, Arts Forward will be fully operational again on September the 7th. All activities will comply with health protocols. And then we had a pop-up concert at Kelwood. There was a pop-up concert at Kelwood recently hosted just outside the barn. The concert was part of a series put on by the Harvest Sun Music Festival, allowing the festival to continue this year by taking the music to the people. Pictured here is Rob Waddell, formerly of Neepawa, performed at the barn, and later he and his bandmates performed at the campgrounds. We've got a couple of articles from Perspectives. It shouldn't be that tough. This week, there has been many things happening that will affect our lives. People in government will make decisions, and those decisions affect our daily lives. Here's a few items that have come down that affect us both directly and indirectly. Premier Brian Pallister resigned as Manitoba's Premier, and Calvin Gertsen was named Premier of Manitoba. Gertsen is likely the smartest parliamentarian in Manitoba. He will guide the government ably through the next few weeks while the PC Manitoba Party selects a new leader. Gertsen will step down as Premier as soon as a new leader is elected and sworn in as Premier. If the new leader already has a seat in the Manitoba legislature, then they will be sworn in immediately and appoint a new cabinet. If the new leader doesn't have a seat, they will have to run in a by-election, and if they win, they will be sworn in as Premier after the by-election and appoint a new cabinet. As we go to print this week, there are 3 candidates for PC Manitoba leader, including MLA Heather Stephenson, MLA Shannon Martin, and former Member of Parliament Shelley Glover. As the leadership election unfolds, there is a definite line in the sand between those who think the leader has to come from within caucus and those who think a change is needed and anyone in caucus is tainted goods, as they should have stood up to Brian Pallister when it was felt he was too bossy and too outspoken. Feeling Pallister was too bossy and too outspoken is matter of sharply debated argument. Pallister was exactly what the party needed at the time he was acclaimed. The party had been in opposition for 15 years, wasn't all that flush with cash, and was very disorganized. I know, as I was on the provincial board, and the level of management and financing of party affairs prior to Pallister was pretty bad. God knows I tried, but you have to remember, in political parties, us poor country folks aren't really smart enough to run important things like political parties. In this leadership race, they have set down a couple of rules that work against any outside coming into the fray. There is a $25,000 deposit, but a candidate gets that back if they attain 5% of the vote. The bigger roadblock is that the candidate and their team have to sign up 1,000 new or renewed memberships to get on the ballot. That's a lot of memberships to sell, and the time frame is tight. I believe it's from August the 23rd to September the 15th. At the outset, the odds are weighted in favor of a sitting MLA, and there have been suggestions that the race rules were purposefully fixed to favor Heather Stephenson. On the federal election front, it has been stated that about the only person who wanted an election over 2 years early, by the way, was Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He said he needed a new mandate. 2 weeks ago, I said Trudeau needs an election to satisfy his needs. If he wins a majority, he will reign soon and go on to something that pays better and is less work. The Prime Minister is allergic to actual work, by the way. Maybe he will get on at the UN or some corporate boards, whatever. If he gets a minority, same story. He will move on. If he loses, he will move on. Trudeau's excitement over an early election has been tempered by other circumstances. I don't think he realized how upsetting it is to have an early election, or how upsetting it is to have hundreds, if not thousands, of Canadians and former Canadian Army support workers trapped in war-torn Afghanistan. Trudeau looked pretty dumb trying to announce the election while some Canadians and Canadian supporters' lives We're at risk in a country that really doesn't like us that well and whose new regime actually hates us. Add to all this turmoil the fact that government rules on COVID-19 are all over the map, and it makes for a very angry electorate. Just think of some of the stupid things that have been said surrounding COVID-19. Masks protect others, but not yourself. That's nonsense. If a mask works, they protect both. Lockdowns will be for the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Well, after 20 months and counting, we all know how well that worked out. Then there was that Dr. Tam advice to wear a mask if you were having sex with someone you don't know. Really? If you are stupid enough to have casual sex, then I am sure you will want you in the gene pool anyway. The most galling one is that causing a lot of anger and frustration is that we were told if we reached 75 or 80% vaccination rate, we could get back to normal. Manitoba's reached that, and we are far from normal yet. Governing is tough, I get that, but politicians and civil servants make it a lot tougher than it has to be. I'll move on to Homebodies with Rita Friesen. Welcome back. A heading like that could imply so many things. Welcome back to school. Welcome back to living with a mask in a public space. Welcome back fall. Different things for different people. For me, today I'm welcoming back a set of books I gave away decades ago. I have not owned many sets of books. I have owned the complete set of For Better or Worse, eagerly awaiting the arrival of each new one, presenting them in the correct order on the bookshelf, reading them repeatedly, and then giving them to a young woman would also share my passion for the series. No regrets. I have owned the complete set of Little House on the Prairie and have no idea to whom I gave them. And that's okay. The set that returned to my care is the boxed hardcover released in the early 70s, Peanuts. Each book is a compilation of cartoons. In fact, each book is 2 books in one, both sides being the front. One volume, for example, has one front entitled Sunday's Fun Day, Charlie Brown, and the other front is You're Out of Sight, Charlie Brown. You can tell I'm the master of heavy reading. The books are showing their age, the spines are weary, there are some loose edges on the covers. The stories are the same. That entire series of cartoons and TV specials were popular for a very long time. Charles M. Schulz made a difference in his world, in my world. Some saw or see the stories as parables. Some see or saw the stories as a modern interpretation of the gospel. What I saw are real-life characters coping, thriving, and surviving. There are days when I can totally identify with Charlie, as one more time he trusts Lucy to hold steady that football as he prepares to kick it into eternity, only to have her swiftly, smugly jerk it away at the last minute. There are days when I am not unlike Linus, cherishing my security blanket, trying valiantly to set it aside, using it as a protection, defensively and offensively, ready to be mocked or ridiculed, even bargaining to keep my token of safety. One series has shown us how much Sally misses her school. The building is her friend. She talks to it, and in one strip, returning from a trip, she rushes up and hugs her beloved schoolhouse. The building is proud to be so loved and reminds any that wish to mock this relationship that his brother is the courthouse. Don't mess with them. Some days I'm proud to identify with Pigpen. The task of the day has provided ample opportunity to get down and dirty. Difference here is that I am delighted to shed the dust and dirt of the day, and hopefully do not carry a perpetual cloud of debris. And I love Snoopy, dancing his way through the pages, flying his Sopwith plane, and rising above the mundane. Charlie is the main character. He suffers from his unrequited love for the little red-headed girl. He attempts endlessly to fly his kite. He mostly faces each day with courage. May it always be so. Thank you, Rita. Let's see, the democratic perspective still. The democratic process must continue. I never had the opportunity to meet Leonard Paramore in person, although through his frequent submissions to the pages of this publication. Over time, I gained the impression that Leonard was a self-educated man, totally engaged in studying and understanding the world that he lived in. He was gifted with an ability to break complex issues into understandable and quotable sentences. Leonard's ideological background in his contribution to the democratic debate was best understood when he explained he did not have a personal dislike for conservatives, but often disagreed with their policies and proceeded to eloquently describe the reasons for his disagreement. We were most fortunate that both Leonard and the editor of this publication shared the same appreciation for the democratic process. Pressure had previously been applied to have the editor restrict Leonard's access to this publication. The editor declined, knowing that such an action would not be an attack upon Leonard Paramore, but an attack upon democracy itself. I also suspect that Leonard's contribution sold subscriptions. By comparison, mass media-sponsored political discourse in this country today has deteriorated to 15-second clips from question period, name-calling, and personality assassination. The Canadian public's political literacy has declined accordingly. The Neepawa Banner is a unique publication today. It is a community newspaper as it should be. The quality of its regular contributors is second to none, as is years of contribution to the democratic process. The publication of Leonard Paramore's writing led to single copies being circulated from household to household. My household was third, but not last in line. Without Leonard's continuing contributions, the editor of the Banner may find himself writing in an echo chamber. To prevent such a tragedy from happening, I am purchasing a subscription in anticipation that the editor will rise to the challenge and exercise every opportunity to stimulate myself and others into presenting a critical and entertaining response to conservative policies. The democratic process must now continue in Leonard's absence. He would have wished it so. Rest well, our dear friend. That was from Fred Tate in Fawsendale, Manitoba. I must admit, I'm not exactly sure where Fawsendale is. And then we have the last perspective, a timely reminder by Neil Stroshine. Many years ago, I attended a motivational seminar led by the late Charles Jones. He was widely known as Mr. Tremendous, due in part to the title of his best-selling book, Life is Tremendous. He shared many life lessons that night. Some made us laugh, and some moved us to tears, but they all gave those in attendance much food for thought. I recalled one of his statements last week as I was reflecting on what had been 3 of the most turbulent weeks I have experienced in a while. Nothing serious or life-changing took place, just a whole lot of little things, and they all happened at the same time. Thankfully, all issues were resolved satisfactorily, and life has returned to normal. The Jones quote that I recalled was this: "In this life, I am always learning. I remember the times when I used to say, 'This is one thing I've learned.' And the moment I said that, God allowed me to go through an experience where I had to learn that lesson all over again." Those words sum up the last 3 weeks of my life. From the moment I was old enough to begin helping on the farm, my days could best be described as unpredictable. King Solomon's words, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth," became my motto. They still are. Now I will be the first to admit that I have never been comfortable going with the flow and living one day at a time. I like to keep detailed schedule and plan my days and weeks so that I can complete assignments and projects ahead of time. Adapting to life with a dog-loving stroke victim, my wife, the love of my life, forced me to make some major changes. Now I spend parts of each day doing for them what they cannot do for themselves, helping with meal preparation, laundry, running a taxi service with an exclusive client of 2, and letting the dog outside for an hour of the day or night. And I would not trade the life I have now for anything. I love it. But just as with many others, I can have weeks in which the list of appointments, work assignments, and chores can pile up, and instead of dealing with the issues one at a time, like I usually do, I start to panic. My level of frustration increases and sometimes boils over in huge sighs that lets everyone in the house know how upset I am right then. That's when Jones's words help me understand what's happening. Just when I thought I had mastered the art of going with the flow and taking life one day at a time, God let me go through 3 weeks during which I had to relearn those lessons. But as I was doing so, He gave me an added gift, all the time I needed to complete every assigned task. As I write these words, I see how, when my panic level was at its highest, I received the mercy and grace to help in time of need that is available to all who seek it. Life since March of 2020 hasn't been easy for any of us. The demands of day-to-day living are hard enough. COVID has made it that much harder. But the God in whom we believe is faithful. He urges us to ask for His help when the pressures of life become too intense. He will gladly give us all the help we need. And the last thing in this particular section of the paper is an observation by Addie Oberlin. This week, my thoughts involve making plans. Some people enjoy making plans before they go on a trip. Others like the unexpected outcome of a plan that was not made. I enjoy making plans. It is part of the fun of knowing what is to come. It happened several times in my life that the plans I made were for nothing because the Lord had a totally different and much better plan in mind for me. Even now, when I sometimes rely on others to plan for me, I need to take a step back and know that it'll be all worked out just right, because I know that God is in control and can change it if He would not be pleasing to Him. Over 200 times in talks in the Bible about trusting in the plans that God has for our life. Much wisdom is spoken to us in the Proverbs. Chapter 19:21 tells us, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." May we have peace and trust the Lord's plan for us. And there's also a picture which is kind of interesting. In history, the Huns Valley class of 1916. Pictured in the Huns Valley class of 1916, the photo was previously featured in the 1981 Neepawa Press archives. And it goes on to list pretty well everyone in the picture, but I think that would be a little bit too difficult on my pronunciation, and I wouldn't want to mispronounce anyone's name. We've got a picture, old-time advertising. Gin pills for the kidneys. Ads like this were very common back in the day. This ad is from 1934 Neepawa Press issue, stated that gin pills relieved kidney trouble by gently soothing and healing inflamed tissues. They were available for 50 cents per box at all druggists. Moving along to the Spruce Plains RCMP report by Corporal Jacob Stanton. During the week of August 23rd to August 29th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 56 police activities. On August 23rd, RCMP responded to a 911 call in the RM of Rosedale, where the caller stated there wasn't an emergency, but they were just looking for an update on a previous file they were involved in. Police explained to the caller that 911 is for emergencies only and to call the detachment for inquiries of that nature. Police received a complaint of an erratic driver in the RM of North Cyprus, Langford. Extensive patrols were made, but the suspect vehicle could not be located. On August the 24th, RCMP were dispatched to a possible structure fire in the municipality of Westlake, Gladstone. Upon arrival, the fire department in attendance determined it was a controlled burn. Police received a report of a suspicious person walking around the property of a residence in Gladstone. Police attended and discovered the suspect was attempting to serve legal documents to the homeowner. Police responded to an abandoned 911 call at a home in Neepawa, which was determined to have been dialed accidentally by a resident in the property. On August the 25th, RCMP responded to a reported disturbance in Gladstone. Police attended but did not locate any disturbance and confirmed with neighbors who reported not hearing anything. Police responded to another report of a disturbance in Minnedosa, where the source of the disturbance could not be located. Police received a report of fraud from the RM of Minto O'Donnell. The matter is still under investigation. On August the 26th, RCMP received a report of a stolen vehicle in Rapid City and another report of a break and enter to the golf course, also in Rapid City. Both matters are still under investigation. Police were dispatched to a two-vehicle collision in Minnedosa. There were no reported injuries, and one vehicle was towed as a result. On August the 27th, RCMP responded to an assault in Minnedosa, where one male was reported to have been assaulted by another male. The victim declined to proceed with charges, so the matter did not proceed. Police attended a commercial alarm in Gladstone, where the building was found to be secure, with no sign of forced entry. The alarm was determined to be false. On August the 28th, RCMP were dispatched to a report of an intoxicated person at a business in Minnedosa that was causing a disturbance. The person was taken into custody and was released once sober. Police responded to a report of theft of personal items in Clanwilliam, where the complainant declined to proceed with charges. August the 29th, RCMP received a complaint of a suspicious person that was reported to have been banging on the complainant's windows in Rapid City. Patrols were made, but no one was located in the area. Police received a report of fraud in Nipawin. The matter is still under investigation. RCMP conducted 19 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. And there's a public service announcement as part of this article. If you have any information about these crimes or any other crimes, please contact your local RCMP office or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the Neepawa and Minnedosa RCMP detachments advise they will be limiting front counter service at the detachments until further notice. We request that you contact each detachment at 204-476-7340 for Neepawa or 204-867-2916 for the Minnedosa office to inquire about criminal record checks or to file a report. Leave a message if needed and it will be checked the following business day. Do not leave a message if you require immediate police assistance. You must dial 204-476-7338 for Neepawa or 204-867-2751 for Minnedosa or 911 to have a police officer respond to you promptly. Moving along to the section of the newspaper that deals with Carbury, North Cyprus, Langford, we have a report filed by Gladwin Scott. I'm pretty sure that Gladwin is a very regular contributor to the paper. And it begins the 2021 school year opens Tuesday, September the 7th with an administration day and the students returning Wednesday, September the 8th. Both principals, Dana Galachik, R.J. Waugh and Bruce McCallum, Carbury Collegiate, are ready for another challenging year. Latest government health orders state that all education-related employees must get their first COVID-19 vaccine shot by September the 7th and their second shot by October the 17th, with full immunity kicking in by October the 31st, or have 3 COVID tests per week. Congratulations to Blair and Laurie Salt, east end of Laverne Avenue, who were recipients of Yard of the Week from the Carbury Communities in Bloom. Braden Knox, 17, will leave for the PAW, where he will register for grade 12 at Margaret Barber Collegiate and play hockey with the OCN Blizzard in the MJHL. During the last 3 years, he has played with the Southwest Cougars, 2 with the under-18 squad, and 1 season with the under-15 team. Braden is 6 feet tall, 160 pounds, and plays left wing or center. He has been lifeguarding at the local pool and was a hockey referee for 2 seasons. Training camp begins in the PAW September the 2nd as the Gordon Laughlin Arena is under repair. Knox is a good student and was baptized by immersion at the Evangelical Free Church August 29th. The OCN coaches veteran Billy Keane. Excerpts from Carbury Town Council August meeting. Present were Mayor Olmsted, Councillors Anderson and Muirhead, Student Rep Salin, and CAO Stephenson. Approved a motion opposing Bill 64, the Education Review Act. Purchased a second-hand truck from Acadia Colony for $5,500. It's a 2013 GMC Sierra. Recognized Gennady Prudnikov, who built a wooden bench for the front of the library. Approved the payment of bills amounting to $66,781. Cody Campbell, who is doing some Robin's Nest renovations, recommended a King Spud statue for the area near Number 1 Highway. Councillors were alerted of the upcoming Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Carbury, December the 14th to the 19th, 2021. 3 new streetlights were approved for installation, 2 on Jardine Street, north of First Avenue, and 1 on Fanny Street, south of First Avenue. The reference board informed council that a parcel of land was requested to be transferred from Beautiful Plains School Division to Rolling River School Division, usually for students to go to a different school or school taxes. Transfer station fees and sewer rates fees approved. Code of Conduct and Derelict Building Reserve bylaws approved. According to a national travel website, Carbury has been one of the 19 friendliest communities in Canada. The official opening of the Wings to War Memorial site, Saturday, September the 11th at 1 p.m., will be held in the fire hall in case of inclement weather. Local dignitaries include Mayor Stuart Olmsted and Reeve Bob Adrianson. Musical interludes will include some war songs. In Pembina Hills under-13 baseball, they played 1.5 games against Winnipeg South at Portage. Playoffs include contests against Interlake in Portage and a game with Carrion. The winner goes to the finals in Winnipeg. On Tuesday, August the 24th, the Carbury Ladies Golf Night held a 2-person alternate shot horse race. Winners were 1, Sharon Murnock, Bev McDonald, 2, Susie Scott, Becky Birch, and 3, Heather Barron and Trish Fraser. The Carbury Seniors Ladies Golf Tournament was held on Wednesday, August the 25th at the Sand Hills Golf and Country Club. Winners were, in the championship flight, Giselle Sayer, 2, Susie Scott, 3, Cindy Grant. First flight, Bonnie Johnson, second, Linda Birch, and third, Lynn Bell. And in the second flight, Agnes Harpel, second, Val Turner, and third, Ellen Blaine. Third flight, first, Terry Wright, second, Helen Sylvester, and third, Sherry Ramage. Closest to the pin, Linda Birch. Closest to the pin on number 7 was Pat Bjarnson. Longest putt, Colleen Turner. Longest drive, Pam Harris. All right, moving right along. I always find it kind of interesting to look some of these, 110 years ago, 100 years ago, walk a little bit down memory lane for this particular issue. 110 years ago, Friday, September the 1st, 1911, Franklin, in reference to the recent case of violation of the Lord's Day Act by cutting grain on Sunday, we are glad to say the offending party was waited on by one of our citizens with the following results. He acknowledges that he violated the law of the land. He says ignorantly that he is extremely sorry for doing so and promises that there will be no reoccurrence of the same on his part in this country. Hence, no prosecution. Interesting. 100 years ago, Friday, September the 2nd, 1921, St. Rose. 4 St. Emily men were fined in the police court Wednesday afternoon by Magistrate Rayum, $3 $50 and costs each for consuming, and one $200 and cost for giving homemade beer in a place other than a private dwelling. The drastic manner with which the Temperance Act is being enforced in this part of the country is arising a lot of unfavorable comment, and some of the best Belgian farmers are freely announcing their intentions of realizing their holdings and returning to the free land from which they came. They also have other but kind words to speak of the treatment received at the hands of the St. Rose du Lac authorities and threaten to trade in the future at other towns. Belgians are among the best settlers in this district. St. Rose du Lac Arthur Goyot left last week for Rochester for treatment at the well-known sanatorium of the Mayo Brothers. Oh, there's a whole write-up about the Mayo Brothers, but I think you could probably, if you're interested, I guess they say now, Google that. 90 years ago, September the 1st, 1931, a farmer's singing in Tennessee led Prohibition officers to a still. There's sure to be something wrong nowadays when you hear a farmer sing. Interesting. 80 years ago, Friday, August the 29th, 1941, Cordova. Private Raymond Ritchie of the Calgary Highlanders, somewhere in England, spoke by radio last Wednesday to his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ritchie, his brothers and sisters, and his wife and son at Carbury. His sister Alice was the only member of the family to hear the message. 70 years ago, September the 6th, 1951, the town council at the regular meeting Friday decided to advise the provincial government that it is the wish of the local council that present rent control legislation be continued in the municipality of the town of Neepawa. It has been announced that Betty Thompson, elder daughter of Mr. and Mrs. J.H. Thompson of Neepawa, has been awarded an Isbister Scholarship for 1951. The award, which goes to the grade 11 student in the district who has the highest academic standing in the June departmental examinations, entitles the winner to remissions of tuition fees at university for 1 year and $50. Miss Thompson, an outstanding student at the local collegiate last June, was awarded the Governor General's Medal and wrote the departmental examinations to qualify for the scholarship. She will attend the University of Manitoba this fall and take the home economics course. 60 years ago, Tuesday, September the 5th, 1961, a new stamp vending machine has been installed in the wicket lobby of the Neepawa Post Office. Electrically operated, it is expected to be a great convenience for persons to obtain stamps when there are many people waiting in front of the wickets. 50 years ago, September the 2nd, 1971. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. R.J. Mackenzie of Gladstone on the occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary celebrated in the Legion Hall, Gladstone, on August the 21st. The Mackenzies arrived in Franklin, a young married couple, in the year 1925. Mr. Mackenzie became principal of Franklin School, a large 2-story brick building. Mrs. Mackenzie was also a teacher, but after her marriage, she gave pupils extra tutelage at home. The teacherage was built in Franklin at this time, and the Mackenzies were the first couple to live in it. Here, their 4 sons, Robert, John, Keith, and Glenn, were born. They left Franklin in the year of 1937, and Mr. Mackenzie later became school inspector. 40 years ago, Thursday, August the 27th, 1981, Patricia Lehman graduated May 29th, 1981, Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy at the University of Manitoba. She is the daughter of Alfred and Lucia Lehman of Arden, Manitoba. 30 years ago, Tuesday, September the 3rd, 1991. Instead of the usual smile from behind the wicket, customers were met with picketers the other day. They were still smiling, but instead of being on the job, the local Neepawa members of Cup W walked the picket lines as part of the rotating strikes that the union has called for to back wage demands. Workers were back on the job later in the week, but at the banner's print deadline, it was questionable whether a fast settlement would be reached. In comparison to the bigger centers, the Neepawa picketing was a very peaceful affair. 20 years ago, Monday, September the 3rd, 2001. There are at least 8 retail vacancies in downtown Nipawin, and finding businesses to fill them is proving to be a challenge. Neepawa's area development officer said last week, there are empty retail spaces up and down Mountain Avenue and Hamilton Street, sites once occupied by such businesses as the former Long's Shoe Shop, Betty Bop's Video, and then Christmas Cottage. Team Electronics has office space available for lease on its second floor, and the Hamilton Square building has 2 vacancies. The Vivian Hotel also has empty space in its lower level. Despite the vacancies, they have cropped up in Neepawa's business district. Mark Fisher says there has been some good news too. For instance, he said Diamond Waterworks opened on Hamilton Street in the former Helen shop, and eBytes Computers opened on Hamilton Street in the space occupied by Sears before it relocated to Mountain Avenue. One vacancy was created when the Mr. and the Mrs. restaurant became too popular and moved from Hamilton Street to the second floor of Neepawa Gladstone Co-op building to gain extra space. And then the center page of the paper, a whole lot of pictures of the Minnedosa held its Fun Fest this past weekend. As can be seen from the photo of the parade above, it drew a good crowd. Left, hot dogs and other refreshments were prepared and available for the festival attendees to enjoy. Bottom left, the parade held over the weekend was host to a young princess and her noble steed, a unicorn. The unicorn was well prepared for an impromptu photo op. Well, isn't that nice? And then we have protesters sound off in Neepawa against COVID-19 restrictions against the unvaccinated. Just under 100 people assembled outside the Neepawa courthouse on Wednesday, September the 1st, to protest the new restrictions against those unvaccinated for COVID-19. Last week, the Manitoba government introduced a stricter vaccine mandate that will restrict access to restaurants, fitness centers, theaters, and ticketed sporting events to only people who show proof of vaccination. The collective group gathered at the steps of the courthouse with signs stressing that forced vaccinations are illegal and the individual rights of each citizen must be respected. Valerie Wilson, a Neepawa resident who assisted in getting the word out about the rally via social media, said people need to understand that this gathering was not a protest against vaccines, but rather forced compliance. Where are you going to draw the line? How many vaccinations? Today it's 2. Tomorrow it'll be 3. Next week it'll be 4, 5, said Wilson. Last year it was masks and hand sanitizer and 6 feet apart to flatten the curve and everything would be good. And all the talk was, no. We're not going to have any passports. Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. But we're all we right now? Here we are. Now it's passports to go to a football game or to a restaurant. Did we see this coming? Yeah, we saw it coming. A similar style of rally recently took place in Winkler and attracted an estimated 1,000 plus attendees. Organizers of that event called for Winkler to become a sanctuary city where people can attend all variety of facilities, businesses, and social and sporting events no matter their vaccination status. And then looking good for promo time. Promo time in Neepawa has a fresh new look to the exterior. On Tuesday, August the 31st, Derek Boyd from the Graphic Factory in Onondaga finished the work on the revamped frontage of the building. Sports. New tee box markers donated to Neepawa Golf and Country Club. Kevin Harris, second from right and in the back row, and several other members of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club recently purchased a combined 108 metal tee markers and gifted them to the club in appreciation for the staff and ground crew's hard work and dedication. Hear, hear. The right type of branding can make a great first impression, even when it comes to something as straightforward as stepping up into the tee boxes for a round of golf. Recently, a group of individuals combined their resources to design, construct, and donate 108 new metal tee box markers to the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. The markers were painted 3 different colors, red, white, and blue, to differentiate the forward tees, the middle tees, and back or championship tees. Kevin Harris was one of those involved with the planning of the donation. He told the Banner and Press the group provided the tee markers as a gesture of appreciation for the incredible dedication exhibited by the NGCC staff to keep the facility in top-tier condition. We all just wanted to chip in and show Neepawa Golf and Country Club that we appreciated what they did, especially last year when they put in all that work to bring the course back after the flooding during the Canada Day weekend, said Harris. The idea itself just came up during a meeting during the men's amateur championship when it was here back in July. We saw the fancy tee markers Golf Manitoba were using and thought that Neepawa deserves to have something similar. With all the work that's put into the course to make it as scenic as it is, we just thought it would be a real nice way to say thank you. CGSA Ground Superintendent Mark Kirkowicz said that it's great to see that all the time and effort put forward by the Neepawa Golf and Country Club staff is noticed and valued in its way. It's always nice when people reach out and do something nice like this. The grounds crew here have been working hard. It's appreciated when those who play the course notice and value that work. It's really nice for someone to go out of their way and donate those markers to the club, said Kirkowicz. Landon Cameron, the general manager and CPGA head golf pro with the Neepawa Golf and Country Club, echoed similar sentiments. It's awesome, and to do this in appreciation of the work the grounds crew has done to get the course back to where it was before the flood year, definitely warranted and definitely appreciated. On behalf of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club, we thank Kevin and everyone else involved for thinking of us. And it goes on then that Neepawa hosted the Interclub Golf Championship. A spectacular effort on the back nine of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club helped propel Drew Johnson to individual honors at the 2021 Provincial Men's Interclub Championship. Meanwhile, the Nyackwa and Wheat City Golf and Country Club claimed team victory at this year's Golf Manitoba promoted event, which was held on Tuesday, August the 31st. The Interclub Championship consists of teams of 4 from any member country club of Golf Manitoba competing. The top 3 scores of those 4 players are combined to make up their total score. They were split into 2 separate divisions, city and rural. So the team results, Nyackwa Country Club won the city division with a combined score of 237 plus 21. With Southwood and Kildonan Park tying for second with total scores of 239. As for the rural division, Wheat City Golf and Country Club won with a combined score of 223. The Neepawa Golf and Country Club, which consisted of Ben Ranka, Mark Kirkowicz, Derek Benson, and Scott Davey, finished second with a total score of 229. After shooting an even par 36 on the front end of the course, Drew Johnson locked in on the back nine and tallied a 5-under par 31 for a total score of 37. Notable local results included Neepawa's Ben Ranka finishing 7th overall with 3 over 75. Close behind was Mark Kirkowicz in 8th with a +4 round of 76. We now move on to the Neepawa Titans training camp signals a long-awaited return to junior hockey. The Neepawa Titans coaching staff are looking forward to the challenges this year's prospects and training camps will provide them. The main reason for that enthusiasm is because it feels like a return to business as usual after a very unusual 2020-2021 season. Training camp is obviously going to be different for a lot of reasons, but it's just good to be able to get back out there, said Ken Pearson, Titans head coach and general manager. There was concern out there for the longest time after the early cancellation of last season whether or not the league would play or not. There were players that were concerned about their league not starting until later and not even playing at all. So it has been a challenge overall. It's been since early November that we're on the ice as a team. So our staff and our returning players are really excited about coming back. And I am looking forward as well to seeing things start up with the development camp on August the 31st, and then moving into our main camp on the 3rd of September. Due to current COVID-19 restrictions, the provincial guidelines there will be very specific requirements in place for all camp attendees. Under the province's latest public health orders, anyone looking to take in a sporting event will need to show proof of full immunization against COVID-19. The new orders go into effect September the 3rd. Pearson stated that while these rules will complicate the process a bit, it's simply a part of the process that they will face head on. It's already been a bit of work getting the up-to-date information to the players and getting the information we need from them and just making sure we have all of that on file for league purposes and whatnot. It's a bit more paperwork, but in the end, it's what has to be done, and it's for the safety of everyone. We're going to provide a health and safe environment for our players and for those coming to the rink, noted Pearson. As for the actual assembly of the team for the upcoming MJHL season, Pearson stated this will be a very competitive fall camp. With the loss of almost an entire MJHL season in 2020, he suggested that essentially every single team will be coming back and starting from the same position, square one. What's going to be interesting is seeing how these returning players, how their development was over the last 8 months of really not being able to do a lot on the ice. That's a bit of a challenge, but it's a challenge every single team has found themselves dealing with. For the Neepawa Titans development camp, which started on Tuesday, August the 31st, there were 36 2005-2006 year born players invited, 32 skaters and 4 goaltenders. The main camp, meanwhile, which starts on September the 3rd, will have an estimated 40 players, 36 skaters, 4 goalies, competing for a roster spot. And the MJHL has announced scholarship fund recipients. The Manitoba Junior Hockey League is pleased to announce 3 recipients of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League's annual scholarship fund. Reese Bremner, Neepawa Titans, Garrick Ripley, Wayway-Sakapa Wolverines, and Carson Tade, Winnipeg Blues, have each been awarded a $1,200 scholarship to a Canadian post-secondary institution by the MJHL. Reese Bremner of Stonewall, Manitoba, spent 3 seasons in the MJHL playing in Neepawa. In 96 career games on defense, Bremner posted 5 goals and 21 assists. The Manitoban will attend the University of Alberta, Augustana in Camrose, Alberta. Garrick Ripley of Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta, joined the Wayway-Sakapa Wolverines for parts of 3 seasons, where he played 108 games, scoring 19 goals and 34 assists. Ripley is enrolled at the University of Alberta, Augustana in Camrose, Alberta, where he will suit up for the Vikings in the ACAC. He was also named team captain for the 2020-2021 season. Carson Tade of Winnipeg, Manitoba, split his time in the MJHL between the Selkirk Steelers and the Winnipeg Blues, where he combined to play in 154 games. The Blue Liner notched 7 goals and 35 assists in his 4 seasons in the league. Tade will continue his studies at the University of Manitoba this fall with a focus on biochemistry. MJHL scholarships are provided to university and college-bound players on an annual basis from a pool of applicants. The scholarship award must be used by recipients for the cost of post-secondary education in the Canadian education system only. Funding for the MJHL scholarship program is provided by corporate sponsorship and through league fundraising efforts. Well, that's the sports section. And we have an article here. The Carbury commemorates the Wings to War. 3 benches, each one signifying a part of the Carbury Service Flying Training School, number 33 history. The local site where the Royal Air Force sent airmen to train during World War II has now been memorialized on the grounds of the Carbury Plains Museum. On Saturday, September the 11th at 1 p.m. at the museum grounds, the memorial will officially be opened and dedicated. Carbury Plains Museum Board embarked on the vision of commemorating the 3 years that saw young men from all over the British Commonwealth descend on the Carbury Plains area to hone their skills on an aircraft, learn to navigate, and generally prepare for the war in Europe and beyond. Probably the most famous airman to train there was Welsh actor Richard Burton. The flags of Great Britain, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada fly over the Wings to War Memorial Site, along with the new Canadian flag and the RAF flag. While the site has been more or less completed since spring, the health orders would not allow a gathering to take place, and the board wanted to make it special. We have tracked down one 103-year-old veteran, Ralph Wild, who served at SFTS number 33 Carbury and now lives in Winnipeg and will be able to attend. We have 2 local daughters of RAF servicemen, Beverly Weeb of Carbury and Laurie Brooking of North Cyprus Langford, who will do the ribbon cutting. Rick Fall, the runner who made the journey from Victoria to Sault Ste. Marie in aid of Childhood Cancer Canada and the Make-A-Wish Foundation this summer, who happens to be the grandson of a World War I veteran and World War II trainer at SFTS 33 Carbury, will also attend and speak. The curator of the British Commonwealth AA Training Plan Museum in Brandon, Stephen Hayter, will speak on the impact of the plan to the war effort. There will be dignitaries and the author from Winnipeg who detailed the stories of wartime romances on this side of the ocean in the book War Grooms and the Girls Who Stole Their Hearts. Judy Kozak as well. As well, we have local talent bringing the songs of World War II era to life. The museum, which houses a substantial amount of wartime memorabilia, including a number of enlarged photos donated by McCain Foods, the potato processing plant is located in the actual site of SFTS 33, will be open to those who want to take a tour following health rules, of course. Chairs will be physically spaced on the ground so that you may safely attend. As long as health rules allow, we will meet after the dedication to the Carbury Royal Canadian Legion for refreshments. An alternate site nearby is ready in case of rain. This era of Carbury's history has long been known, but somewhat faded over the years. The Carbury Plains Museum Board is pleased to have produced a memorial that will ensure that this time will not be forgotten. We invite you, the public, to attend this event. And I think I should make note of hometown type of grocery marks special event anniversary. Neepawa's Fresh Mart celebrates 25 years of local service. Although it still has a relatively new name on the building, Neepawa's Fresh Mart grocery store has been your reliable neighborhood grocer for quite some time. The owners and operators of the business, formerly known as Shop Easy, recently celebrated their 25th year at the location on 250 Hamilton Street. Brothers Blake and Darren Rowe took over operation of the former Williams Tomboy store back in August 1996. The duo would then hold their official grand opening in September of that same year. Since that time, there have been a few changes to the business over the years, but it still remains to this day a family-owned and run operation. Blake Rowe told the Banner and Press that they are proud to have hit this notable milestone. There is a sense of accomplishment, maybe even a sense of relief sometimes. We didn't go without our battles here. Some days you didn't think you were going to make it. We had a great day. We had a bad one. But when you own a small business in a small community, it's always a challenge, stated Rowe. The year was opened up, Safeway expanded, and that's when the Sand store closed. The co-op has gotten bigger and bigger as they've been going along. Then there's Giant Tiger. The competition has gotten greater from when we began. I am proud in the sense that we've held in there. We're still here. There's an accomplishment in itself. Rose stated that a major part of the ongoing success can be attributed to the loyal following from its customer base. He added that loyalty continues on in the next generation of shoppers. When we first started, we knew a lot of the people, and while the town has changed a lot over the years, there are still loyal followers. People, I think, still like the old-style service we provide here. We'll still greet you with a hello, carry out your groceries, open up the checkout for people, and make sure they don't have to wait. There's just not that corporate feeling. We're still the hometown type of grocery, Rowe said. Rowe concluded by thanking all the members of staff who have worked for Fresh Mart Shop Easy over the years, saying their success would not have been possible without their support and dedication. A lot of thanks to the staff over the years. I think that we've been very fortunate to have some of the staff we have had. We've been lucky to draw on good people. Without them, we could not have done it. It would have not been possible, noted Rowe. This business started with the family, myself, my brother, our mom, my wife, and then Kelly's mom shortly after. And then her brother started working here part-time after school. So we had a lot of family here at the start. A lot of hard work went into this over the years. It's been challenging. There were some tough times, but we're still here. So I guess that's something. Just thanks to everyone. Without our customers, we are not here. And there's also a picture of from 1996, Darren and Blake Rowe, along with then Mayor Roy McGilvery, officially opening the Neepawa Shop Easy grocery store in September of 1996. And I've read the Ag Society follow-up at the end of the paper, but I wanted just to draw attention. There is a insert in this edition of the Banner Press, which recognizes National Trucking Week, September the 5th to the 11th, 2021. Says the trucking industry keeps Canadian businesses running. Every year in September, Canada celebrates this industry with National Trucking Week. This section is dedicated to the hard-working individuals involved in the trucking industry, and we thank them for keeping our country's wheels turning. So there's a bit of a history of the semi-complete history of the semi-truck. There is a message. It says a message from Kelvin Gertsen, Deputy Premier of Manitoba. Of course, that has changed, as I read earlier on. And then a great deal of recognition of the various trucking firms within the Neepawa, Minnedosa, Carbury, and outlying regions. Always great to see those businesses recognized, and I'm sure that they supported this special edition of National Trucking Week. And I'll just read recognizing the important contributions of Canadian truckers. The Canadian Trucking Alliance, the country's national trucking group, in conjunction with the Provincial Trucking Association, launched National Trucking Week many years ago. It begins on the first Sunday in September and runs to the following Saturday. The purpose of the week-long celebration is to recognize the important contributions made by the 400,000 Canadian men and women who keep the country's freight moving. Provincial trucking associations, carriers, industry supporters, and other stakeholders are encouraged to undertake activities in their own province to mark the event. In previous years, provincial associations have marked the occasions with newspaper supplements, radio advertisement contests, special promotions, and special events at truck stops and roadside inspection stations. Carriers and industry suppliers have hosted barbecues, breakfasts, truck washes, offered special giveaways to employees, and marked the week event in a wide variety of activities. So again, thank you to all of the local trucking firms that have supported this insert, and congratulations to all of them for the fine service they provide to our community. So I guess that's the news for this week, ending September the 3rd. On behalf of the entire NACTV broadcast crew, I would like to thank you for joining us, and I'll sign off now until next week. Have a good week.